All right. Last thing to talk about. I can just Q&A for the most part. So if you guys have got any questions for us, go ahead and tweet those to @ChanManV or post any questions in Twitch chat. Um, Zalae, if you see any in Twitch chat, just let me know. Uh,
Okay.
I'll be looking in Twitter here.
Sure.
Let me see. I don't think we have any in Twitter. You guys aren't even tweeting questions. Come on. Okay, here we go. It says Kyle Felter asks, "Is it possible for Blizzard that wait? Is it possible that Blizzard is being too reactionary to fan feedback? Example: the heroic tavern brawl." I guess he's thinking that the heroic tavern brawl was a product of what people asking for a tournament mode. I guess is what he's implying there.
I think it is to an extent, or maybe
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks that it's hard to say what he's thinking because like some people theorize that like they were intending to release it sooner, but then there was like a negative reaction to it or something, and then they delayed it, which doesn't seem correct to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think, Jackie? I haven't heard
I
your
think the
thoughts
Rory
on
Tavern Brawl thing is great. I think it's
Yeah.
great. I think the only downside is that it's kind of for people who don't have lots of gold, they don't have their regular Tavern Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one thing I like it would have been good if there'd still been a normal Tavern Brawl, normal weekly Tavern Brawl. In addition to this heroic thing, probably be the best.
But there's a period of time when Tavern Brawl is down for a couple days, right? Maybe they could put the heroic Tavern Brawl up in between the regular Tavern Brawls or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be a way to do it.
That
Because
would
I
be
don't think it's that easy for them to just add a button in the Hearthstone client. I think that's probably a lot of work on their end.
Yeah.
I think that takes a year.
It seems simple, but I think
That
that's
takes
actually
a year.
a big
Probably.
deal for them.
Yeah.
But then I think Blizzard listening to what the community wants, like that can't be a bad thing, right? It's
Yeah. I mean, he's basically saying if they're overreacting to what people say.
I feel like Blizzard generally underreacts to the crowd. Like I think recently Blizzard has been reacting more to feedback from players, and I like that. I think they've been making positive changes, and I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy with the direction of Blizzard. I've been happy with what I've been hearing from Blizzard over the past few months. We've got a question in Twitch chat here. What's your take if they change the discover/add a random card effect so that the cards are revealed to both players? There's still randomness, but at least it's not as frustrating to play against. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
You have like very specific information about how to play around what's in your hand, in your opponent's hand. Also, like when I get to see my opponent make a choice on their discover, it gives me insight as to what's in their hand, right? Like if they pick something weird, it's like, okay, maybe they picked that weird card because of the circumstances of their hand. So it's more than just that one card that you get to see. You get to see them making that choice amongst those three cards. And so there's just a lot more decision making going there. And that kind of ties into why Ivory Knight's such a well-designed card, because it's not giving your opponent some random discover card that you can't play around at all. You get to see how much they healed for. And so he tells you, oh, 2, it's probably an equality. 4, maybe it's a consecration. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Jack, any thoughts on?
Was he suggesting that you see the 3 cards and see which they pick, or just see the 3 cards and not?
Or see the card they picked, I believe.
Oh, really? I want to see all of it.
Yeah, no, I think
if you want to reveal all 3 cards to everyone.
I think if you got to see all 3 of them, but not which one they picked, that would be pretty cool. Because like
that would be cool.
One of 3, so it's not like you know what they have. And
that's actually even cooler. Then you have to you have to rule out which of the 3 they picked based on the plays they're making.
Exactly.
So that's maybe more decision making.
Yeah, I think it's not like completely explicit too. Like I'm not a huge fan of just like, something that's just you just let's show everybody everything, and there's no real wit to that. I think this would be kind of cool to have some guessing involved. The biggest issue is just having nothing, like no information at all, like we see with battling books and stuff like that. So if they just gave some information, it'd be good.
Like with Dark Peddler, usually someone plays Dark Peddler, they insta-pick something, you're thinking, oh, okay, it's probably PO or Soulfire, pretty much. Like, whereas as soon as they take like 10, 15 seconds to think about it, it could be a huge range of things. So having the kind of, it could be this, or this, and I think it's definitely good because it can also hint what they've got in their hand and what you need to be playing around. So
it's particularly good when the discover is like a large range of cards. With Peddler, it's not as bad because it's it's only 1-drops, right? I mean, so it's a very small subset, and then even the power level of that subset isn't that crazy. But when it is like any of a class, or even crazy things like any card period in Hearthstone, then yeah, seeing the 3 cards I think is extremely helpful and doesn't feel as random. The games don't. Okay, Ryan Harris here. He's got a question. Actually, we'll start with you, Jackie. What kind of meta are you hoping for from the next expansion? Which, if any, would you like it to be the most similar to?
Which meta would I like it most? I mean, I in my head, the most ideal kind of meta would be a mid-rangey meta with some control decks that are good, some aggro decks that are good. Like, I don't think
now,
a full
right. It's kind of like that.
Yeah,
right?
but I don't think. I think other than Shaman, I don't think it matters in a horrible place. I think Shaman's unbalanced, but I think a mid-rangey meta is where the game should be. I think if everyone's playing control deck, Hearthstone would get dull to watch, and it would be same with aggro. Every single game is aggro versus aggro. It's just
you need some balance and diversity in a meta for sure.
Exactly, yeah. And I think I would like to see lots of decks where, like, you take Druid at the moment. Druid and Shaman are the most popular classes at the moment. But Druid, I feel like there's a lot more decision making.
Skill.
It's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more difficult to play, and it's more fun to watch. And I think I'd like to see a lot more kind of mid-rangey decks in the similar position to Druid, where there's a lot of decision making involved, and there's lots of options with cards like Raven Idol. Yeah, so a lot of mid-rangey decks that have a lot of choices, few control, few aggro, pretty much.
A lot of just a lot of dynamic or more dynamic cards and that sort of thing. And your comparison to Druid and Shaman is really good. Shaman's a lot of Shaman cards just throw it down. It's strong, you know what I mean? And Thunder Bluff on turn 7, that sort of thing. And hopefully you've built up a lot of totems. There are key decisions that win you games, but the general way you play it, you're gonna have a good 70-80% success if the cards come the same way as, say, one of pro players play it. With Druid, it's a vast difference the way pros play a Druid, that Malagus Druid versus your average player. It's crazy the variance in the results with that. And
even within pros, there's quite a bit of difference in how Malagus Druid is played. It's like really easy to misplay with that deck. Even like I don't get it right a lot of the time.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's see, another question here. There's the Marvin Fluffo asks, have you found a viable Zubat deck? Either of you guys?
It depends on how you define viable. It's kind of a vague term, right? I could definitely take Zubat to Legend with some things. It's probably not something I would ever take to any kind of world championship or like high stakes event, right? So it depends what viable means to you. You can jam it in some kind of good cards deck and win some games, but
yeah, I mean, it's pretty good in Paladin. With the Murloc that changes your hero power.
Right.
Like kind of aggressive mid-rangey Paladin, pretty good. Same with like Druid, because they've got a lot of beasts. But yeah, nothing that's insane, just something that's a bit of fun and not too bad.
It's just hard to build decks that have a lot of different types of cards in it, given that the way the tribes were designed would be synergistic with each other. So only having a few of them to get, like only a few of them in a deck isn't what was meant for the tribes. I feel like you have to have like 6 to 10 of these cards together, and then all of a sudden collectively they're pretty strong. So it's hard. It's definitely hard for a
one of the main things is like the curator. One thing about the curator that's so good is that you don't have to have anything on the board. You can just play the card and you're going to get value out of it. Like you're going to get, as long as the cards are in your deck, you're going to get a draw or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But with like Zubat and is it Menagerie Magician?
Yeah.
Like you already have to be in a good position. You already have to have a couple of minions on the board, which is difficult to do in the first place. You have to have minions that have stuck to the board, unless you're like doing lots of stuff in one turn. So it's more difficult to get value out of them. Whereas curator, you're guaranteeing the draws. On your deck, pretty much.
It's a really good point. Just a lot of times in Hearthstone, you play something and it dies. You play something and it dies. You play something and it dies. So if you're playing something that relies on something not being dead, you're kind of in a bad spot to start with, right?
Yeah.
There are a few exceptions, like Menagerie Warden, that's 6 mana 5/5 that spawns something, but that's specifically good because Stranglethorn Tiger exists on 5 mana and has stealth, so it doesn't die. So it's like a perfect curve and protects itself for the synergy to work. But like so often having something that relies on something else being on board, it's just like it's really tough to make that happen.
All right, Bourbon ESL asks, do you think they will ever have cards with more than one distinction, like tribe distinction? That cards like Zubat was led was a lead into that new set, where we might see cards like Beast Murloc for additional synergies. Like, so I guess, do you think there will be, I don't know, what's a good example of one? Like, you can be a beast and you can be a...
How about a mech pirate?
Mech pirate. Okay, mech pirate. That sounds good.
Mech pirate.
There you go.
I think it sounds
That would
cool. I
be-
think it's unlikely. There's probably technical limitations for Blizzard on that kind of thing. That would be my guess. I'm not an expert on that. I don't know.
Murloc
but-
riding a Kodo.
Ooh.
It might be more of a UI, like a...
I mean, it's one of those things that it would be pretty cool to see, but I can't.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. It would be, I mean, then, because it would establish a precedent too, which that kind of precedent makes it almost feels like eventual power creep too, because you can't, if this kind of double tribal thing starts becoming popular, then how can you go back to just having, a single tribal type of card? And it'll kind of feel that way. So design wise, I think, I'm not sure it's a healthy thing to do. Okay, last thing. How about one more question here? Okay, so Toxic Ape, I'm not sure what this is. Or go, Zalae, you have a better one? Or maybe we'll do two
I got
more.
a question in chat about, is Ice Howl viable in Fatigue / Kill 'Em All Warrior? I think you can do it. It's not like the worst choice. It's kind of like what Grommash already does. Grommash is a little better because once in a while it actually kills your opponent. But I think it's a reasonable thing. For me, Ice Howl's best home was always in Astral Communion Druid. I really felt like Ice Howl was like just a good card in that deck that I think does belong. So if you want to play some Ice Howl decks, I recommend Astral Communion Druid. What do you think, Jackie? You're pretty good at that kind of deck building.
Astral Communion Druid sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Ram Druids, man. Fun stuff. Toxic Ape, what do you guys think about an exile mechanic in the game? With cards like Resurrect and stuff, it could be interesting to see a mechanic which gave you the option to remove minions from the pool that are bothersome. Might also be an interesting way to nerf Murloc combo. So I'm not very familiar with the exile mechanic, but it sounds like you can take a card out of somebody's deck.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of, well, there's a few things with that. One is I don't want to nerf Murloc combo. It's not that strong, and I'd like to see, it's a cool, unique thing. I'd like to see more of it, not less.
Yeah.
That does already exist in Hex and Tomb, for instance, are ways to, exile it so that you can deal with it and they can't resurrect it.
So essentially you have so when a minion dies, it essentially goes to a grave and you're kind of removing it. Exiling would be removing it from the grave so it doesn't exist at all, kind of thing.
You're sort of getting it out of play without triggering death rattles or anything like that. Right? The Tomb and Hex do that.
So just...
Right.
Yeah, so just removing it ever existed, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it would be some type of counter to Death Rattle in N'Zoth, and even...
Hex already does that really well.
In Sylvanas, right? It
cool
wouldn't trigger anything, right? It just literally... Okay. I feel like that mechanic, they've played around it, with Moat Lurker being the way it is, because Moat Lurker actually kills the thing, right? Instead of just engulfs it temporarily. So it seems like they're working around that limitation. They'd have to actually add something new, and it's my interpretation of it. But yeah, I think it sounds cool. I mean, I think it's a cool mechanic. It's not like I don't think it's one of those mechanics that changes a lot of things drastically, but it's a nice thing to have, kind of in their pocket.
I mean, you obviously have silence for death rattles. And transformations like polymorph.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another good example. Yeah.
That's basically
Yeah, it's more stuff like Hex.
Yeah.
Polymorph Huffer and Polymorph itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want more transformations though.
Exists.
Yeah.
Do you want more transformations?
Gosh, I don't know if we want more of that. We already have a ton of cheap transformation spells. That's crazy. All right. And I think that's it. Yeah, so everybody, thanks for sending in your questions, and hopefully we got to most of them. We can't answer all of them, or some of them might be repeats too, that maybe we've done in the past, and that's one of the reasons why I might have picked you. But Jackie, awesome having you back on the show. Been trying to get this guy, but he's so busy streaming, and everybody seems to stream during this show. Literally, it used to be everybody was kind of spread out. Now everybody literally streams during this like 8-10 hour block. It's crazy. Eventually Value Town is going to be 4 a.m. in the morning or something like that. It's going to be kind of crazy. But no, I mean, I really appreciate you taking.
But thanks for having me. It's always,
I love your stream, Jackie. You're such a good player. You play such interesting decks. Like you're like the perfect streamer guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely check out his stream. What's your stream, Jackie, for those that don't know?
It's twitch.tv/Jackie Chan with a 4.
Jackie Chan. Here you go, guys.
With a
you
4.
can go there, follow it, check him out. And you can see his Twitter there too, so definitely. And
yeah, I put my deck lists and stuff like that on Twitter.
Yeah,
so
and tweet Maz to tell him to pick Jackie for the ATLC thing. We'll campaign for you here, man. Totally campaign for you.
Love it.
Zalae, how about you, man?
Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember to check out the Patreon. Like, if we're gonna keep doing this next year, we're gonna need to see some more support there. If you want to see more of me, you can check out my stream, twitch.tv/ZalaeHS. I think I don't even know my channel name. That's bad.
Come on.
But that's probably it. And I'll be streaming a lot over the next few days. So check me out. Play some Kill 'Em All Warrior, get in some Elise battles. I enjoy those.
Oh yeah, those are awesome.
Good.
The greedy decks, man. That's what I'm all about too.
Okay.
And you guys can check me out. Oh, if you guys are wondering where Noxious was today, Noxious was feeling a little under the weather going into BlizzCon, so he wanted to rest up going there. So Noxious will be back. Oh, we'll also be doing a live Value Town too from BlizzCon on either Friday night or maybe early Saturday. So I'll try to tweet out when that's going to be. But it'll be like a shorter episode, mostly just to talk about the announcements, that the Hearthstone crew ends up telling all of us. Hopefully we'll see some cards too, so we can talk about that. But it'll be the first time we ever do the show live at a venue or anywhere that's not online. So that would actually be really, really cool. So definitely tune in for that. If you miss it, I'll definitely have a VOD up on the YouTube for you to check it out, as well as this show. This one will be up on YouTube also, as well as iTunes too. Before I leave tomorrow, I'll be heading up to BlizzCon, and we'll have a Value Town meetup, guys, tomorrow night. If you happen to be at BlizzCon, there's a Con Before the Storm. It's like this conference. I think they have a lot of everything, but the World of Podcasts, which is this kind of podcast mini conference thing, they do there, and I'll be doing the Hearthstone panel. It's going to be in the Hilton, which is like right next to the convention center. I'll be on the second floor. I'll be doing the panel at 5:30 tomorrow with Garrett, each from Angry Chicken, and some of the other guys from the other podcasts, Hearthstone podcasts. And then afterwards, we're going to do a meetup where there's like a meet and greet area, so we'll just do that there. So if you're big Value Town fan, I'll try to have me and Noxious there to hang out with you guys if you can. And lastly, I'll just plug Streamer Showdown. We debuted our first Streamer Showdown in the Hearthstone space, which was the game show that I started. You can check that out too on the YouTube channel whenever you get a chance. We had Toast, Trump, and Ratsma battling it out. It was actually pretty funny. There was a lot of funny moments during the show. So definitely let me know what you guys think about that too. But that's going to be it for Value Town today. So for Jackie Chan, Backspace 2, big thanks to Backspace 2 for coming on earlier. So for Jackie Chan, Zalae, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next time. Later.